Good morning to one and all. My name is Bogala Vinod Reddy and I am from ECD section. Today my topic is classification of control structures in C language and the subject C programming language. And my roll number 20951 capital A04P4. And entering new topic, flow of control. First of all, flow of control. Unless specified, the order of the statement execution is linear, one statement after another in sequence. A control structure is any mechanism that departs from the default straight line executions. And next, where the control structures are two types, here the conditional repetition. Where the control structures are two types, repetitions and conditional, where the conditionals are only as one type, where the decision, where the decisions are if or else. Then where if or else is defined as a decision for the conditional in control structures, where the repetitions are iterations are for and while loops, where the for and whiles are the iterations of repetitions in control structures. This is the flowchart about the control structures. When the selection statement used to choose with the statement to be exhausted next, and therefore they are sometimes called the conditional statements. Conditional statements gives us the power to make basic decision. The C conditional statements are if statements, if and else statements, switch statements, where the if statements. The if statement has follows the syntax if conditions or statements semicolons. If is a C reserved keyword, where in C language where the if is a reserved keyword, the condition must be a Boolean expression. It is evaluated to either true or false. If the expression in the program in the Boolean type Boolean expression, if we use the if statements, if the output is either the true or false. If the condition is true, the statement is existed. If it is false, the statement is skipped, means is the statement is wrong assumptions. And next, if and else statement. If condition statements 1 semicolon or else statement 2, where in if condition and the if else conditions there is the only one statement, and the if and else statements it has the two statements that if the statement 1 is correct, it prints the statement 1. Else is the defines that statement 1 is wrong and the prints the statements 2, where statement 2 is wrong and prints the statement 1. This is the program for the else statement, if and else statement. If the condition is true, statement 1 is existed. If the condition is false, statement 2 is existed. Where the depending on the statement 1, if it is false, it prints the statements 2. If it is true, it prints the statement number 1. And consider the following examples. Example for the if and else statements. Int grade equals to 76%. If of grade greater than or equals to 60, where the 76 is greater than 76, then print passed in new line, else print f bracket semicolon failed in new line semicolon brackets of semicolon. The above code will be produced and output passed since the true statement only existed. Therefore, the condition is grade greater than or equals to 60. There the 76 is greater than 60. Then the statement is true and the statement 1 passed. And another statement, nested if statements. In an if statements which is within another if or else is called a nested if. Within another if or else is called as nested if. Branches can be used to specify that if the statement to which and else clauses belongs. This is about the nested if statements, and the example for nested if syntax of nested if. If condition 1 flower bracket, if condition 2 do this or else this else with condition 2 again flower bracket, use flower bracket, this is the another function, do this and this semicolon, and close the flower bracket of second one semi program, and close the full program with closed flower bracket, and outside the function else do this else within the condition 1. Note that if the C and else statement always refers to the nearest if, that within the same block of else. If in this function if is used at the two conditions, and the first if is normal if statement, and the second we use the second if is called the nested if. This is the syntax for the nested if. And nested if is for example for the nested if the average marks or the average marks are anything average greater than or equals to 90, print a student percentage of s means scan, percentage of s means scan that marks students gets a grade or comma name. And else if average greater than or equals to 80 and average less than 90, print student percentage of s gets a B grade. With the greater than 90 percentage, student gets the A grade with the comma name, and the average marks greater than or equals to 80 or between the 80 to 90, the student gets the B grade, comma name. Else the student gets the marks of near between 70 to 0, the student gets the C, and 70 to 60, between 70 to 60, students gets the C grade, and the student gets the average less than 60, the student's percentage of S failed. And this is a statement for the nested if conditions are used for so many times. The second if is in second if in the function is known as a nested if. And next, switch statement. Another statement is called switch statement. The switch statement provides another way to decide which statement to execute next. Switch statement provides that key role for the program, which statement is executed next. The switch statements evaluates an expression, then attempts to match the results to one of the several possible cases. Each case contains an value and a list of statements, and the flow of control transfer to a statement associated with the first case value that matches. This is about the switch statement. And the statement syntaxes are conditions. Conditions for the switch statements. Often a break statement is used as the last statement. In each case, a statement list or a break statement causes control to transfer to the end of the switch statement. The break statement is not used, the flow of control will continue into the next case. Sometimes this may be appropriate, but often we want to execute only the statement associated with the one case. Okay, this is all about the switch statement. And next, switch statement can have an optional default cases. It has an optional default cases in the program. If the default cases is present, control will be transferred to if and only if another case evaluate matches, and if there is no default cases, no other value matches, control falls through to the statement after the switch. If there is no default cases and no other value matches, control falls other two statements after the switch. Where the expression of a switch statement much results in an integral type, meaning an integral byte comma short comma int or a character. It cannot be floating point value. It's not be a float or a double. it implicate test condition a switch statement is equality, where we cannot perform relations checks with the switch statement. We cannot perform the relations to check the switch statement. And next, syntax for the and generally syntax for the switch statement is switch types are end cases are reversed words, and the syntax for the switch statement: switch off expression, open bracket, case evaluates statement list 1 or case 2, case value 2, statement list 2, case value 3, statement list 3, default of statement, close the flower bracket. If the expression matches value 2, control jumps to there. Okay, we have written the three cases, where the first switch expression is evaluated from each case when if it matches to the case value 2, is jumps to the 2 directly and printed the statement list 2. An example for the switch statement: switch off option means open the power bracket, case A, account plus plus, break, case B, count plus plus, break, C comma column, and the C count plus plus or break semicolon, default other count breaks, and close the bracket. And switch off optional and the output for it. Okay, and another statement is iteration statement, also known as loops. Iteration statements are also known as loops. Loops are three types: for loop, while loop, and the do while loop. It allows a set of instructions to be executed until a certain conditions is met. The loop structure available in CR: for loop, while loop, and do while loop. And next, and the explanation for the for loop and the loops are: about the for loop, the syntax for the statement is C for loop. For initialization expression, loop, repetition, condition, update expressions, open bracket, statement, and close. The initialization expression set the initial value of the loop control variables. The loop repetition condition sets the value of the loop controls variable. The update expression update the loops control variables. And the nested loops. Nested loops consist of an outer loop with one or more inner loops, where the nested loops having the more than one inner loops with one or more inner loops, and the consist of only one outer loop. Example for the nested loops are, for example, I equals to 1, I less than or equals to 100, and I plus 1 is the outer loop, and open the flower bracket. For j equals to 1, j less than or equals to 50, and j plus plus is the inner loop, close the bracket. The above loops will be run for 50 into 100 into 50 iterations. For loop, an example for loop function, an example is where I star for loop to print even numbers below 100. For I equals to 2, if I less than 100, I equals to I plus 2, printed % of d, and comma I. This is the example for the for loop. And next, while loop. The syntax for the do while loop statement in C: do statement, while loop repetition condition. The statement is the exhausted if the statement is first exhausted. If the loop repetition condition is true, the statement is repeated, otherwise the loop is existed. An example for the do while loop is: find an even number, input, and input a number, it's executes it's an even or odd. Do, open flower bracket, printf enter a value and the of percent of d and number, while number percent of 2 not equals to 0 is an even number. Okay, there is another statement called jump statement, also called as unconditional branching. It means transfers of the control to a specified statement. C has four statements that performs the unconditional branches. They are call or return function, go to statement, and the break statement and the continue statement. The go to statements allow the transfer control to any other statements in the functions. General form of the label statement, go to label. The return statement used to return from a function. It returns to a point at which the function is called. It was have a value with it. General form returns expression. The expression is optional. Functions can be more than one return statement, but with returns at the first term of first return statements. Okay, thank you for listening to me, and thank you for giving this opportunity to college and respected sir.